recording already? Sounds good. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you so much for showing up. Like I said, it really is early in the morning, so I appreciate everyone being here. This is actually the first talk I've ever done at a con. The first con I ever went to was actually DerbyCon 1.0. So it's really cool to be back here and actually to be a speaker. So I'm really glad you all made it as well. Let's dive into Cookie Cadger, which I would probably call Cookie Monster, except for I would get sued. So before we actually get into that, I will break the ice a little bit, kind of wake you all up for the morning. I just want to talk about some things I've learned at DerbyCon. You know, we'll go over and we'll review some things here. Dinner here is expensive. Now, you guys might be thinking, oh, yeah, it is expensive downtown. No, that's nothing. See, my debit card hasn't been working almost the entire time I've been here. When I finally got a hold of my bank to figure out what was going on, I found out that they charged me $460,000 at the Maker's Mark Lounge. Yes, those zeros are accurate. $460,000. So when you get home, if you've been eating at that establishment, you want to just double check your credit real quick. So that's been a lot of fun. That's been a blast. Working on no cash, no card. It was good. Don't try to play with hotel display systems. And no, we didn't get caught or anything like that. We found one of the really ritzy hotels here in Louisville. We found a public share with some checks and stuff on it. It's probably not going to be a good plan. So don't stay in the really nice ritzy ones in downtown. They have no idea. We'll not go into details, but whichever one it was that we were looking at, there was definitely like available payroll data in this share. We didn't open it, but it says payroll data, and you could browse around in it. I'm sure it was exactly what it was claiming to be. So that's two things I've learned at DerbyCon. All right, now we'll actually dive into a real presentation here. Who the heck am I? Well, I'm Matthew Sullivan. Pleased to meet you. I'm a graduate student at Iowa State University, and I do information assurance and computer engineering. I'm working on my master's, hoping to get out in May. I also work as a research assistant for the Internet Scale Attack and Event Generation Environment, also known as Ice Age. And in my free time, I like to make stuff, and I like to break stuff. Hopefully that follows the MO of a lot of you guys out there as well. So, hopefully, if you're at this talk, you have some clue of what you showed up to. But just in case you didn't, we're going to play a fun game called Cookies in 30 Seconds. It might take about a minute, but we're going to try. Here we go. Ready, set, cookies. When you're in your web browser and you click on a link, the browser sends information to a web server, and that requests a specific page on the back end. It's like, hey, give me that page. It includes some hidden information, including cookie data. Now, the web server actually figures out your identity based on that cookie data. The web server then figures you out, returns the page, and it tailors it just to you. That was like 15 seconds. Nice. All right. So, as an example, you can imagine I'm logged into Facebook, and I request Facebook, and this is just, regular old Wireshark capture, and you see right up here that I have get /. So I'm going to get the root of Facebook, right? And, there we go. You also see the cookie data. The cookie data is down there. It's just hanging out. Now, this is HTTP, right? So there's no SSL, TLS. I can just see this. I can, oh, there's the cookies. Wonderful. And the web server, of course, matches this cookie and lets me view a web page customized just for me. And the result is, my Facebook login. Yay! And yes, you're all seeing my Facebook. Congratulations. So that's how cookies work. And hopefully you are all now experts in that field, because we're going to dive straight in after that. So let's talk about cookie hijacking and some of the progress in that field in the last couple of years. Obviously, for those of us who have been around, or me, I'm obviously a lot younger than a lot of you in the crowd, but I've been kind of learning how a lot of things were done in the security community for a while. And of course, cookie hijacking has always been possible, right? I mean, this isn't a novel concept. As long as there have been cookies, since Netscape came up with this concept of cookies, there's always been cookie hijacking. You can take the unencrypted medium and just load into it, and oh, look at that. In Wireshark, I got this cookie data, extract it out, and then you could always re-inject it with a little bit of difficulty into like Firefox. And it wasn't too bad, right? All you have to do is just add a module or add on, or you could always manipulate the SQLite database itself, throw the cookie string in there. It was still a very manual process. And then all of a sudden, Firesheep came out, right? Eric Butler and another gentleman whose name I cannot remember. I'm so sorry if you're watching this video. Eric Butler and this other dude come out with Firesheep, right? And I remember in 2010, this was the reaction to Firesheep, right, by... or actually, sorry, I'm going to slide ahead of myself. So, Firesheep. Firesheep was a little bit unstable. It could do cookie hijacking really simply, though. You could see everything that someone had logged into on the left-hand pane. You could click that. It would load up their session. It was pretty cool, right? I mean, back then, we all remember seeing it and going, wow, that's a lot easier. Of course, today, it's unstable. It hasn't even worked since Firefox 3. Some community stuff has happened to it. It's on GitHub. It's just meh. And it was made to scare large entities, Facebook and Twitter. What it ended up doing was actually scaring a lot of companies, in my opinion. Just from talking with people, they kind of woke up and said, we need to make sure our apps aren't just using basic auth anymore. They actually need to be using maybe basic auth over HTTPS, even though if you're still using basic auth, you pretty much deserve to be let go from your own company. The other thing that it scared was people. I remember watching the news, and of course, news, right? They're just fantastic at relating security advice. Like, this just in, hackers will steal your Facebook and then they'll kill you. It's like that old thing we saw. It was like hackers will blow up your house with your computer. Remember that old thing? It's kind of like that. I mean, that was the reaction I saw all over. Was people like, oh my gosh. But what they were going for with Firesheep was, hey, we've got a problem here. It's just a matter of time before this becomes a more widespread issue. Guys, fix this. Facebook and Twitter and all these sites that have your personal data. It's time to protect it. Please protect it. That's all they want from you. So when Firesheep came out, the world was like, holy crap! And businesses everywhere were like, CIOs, and they're like, holy crap! And InfoSec was like, yep, we saw that coming, okay. And then Facebook was all like, nah, don't worry about it. But obviously that's not the solution, right? We can't just say, nah, don't worry about this. I mean, this is a problem. This is a serious problem. Obviously, we have people like Google coming up with new protocols such as Speedy. Speedy, if you're not familiar with it, is a replacement kind of for the HTTP and HTTPS protocols. It requires end-to-end encryption and certificates. It's SSL, TLS, kind of wrapped into some other features. And it's very efficient, but it's also requiring encryption all the way through the connection. And this is something we need to start looking at. We have to keep moving forward and being progressive. So there's going to be a demo with this, I hope. But judging by the entire way my friends are running around here, this is going to be a horrible demo. The demo gods must be shining not upon us. So maybe the other rooms are stealing my demo awesomeness. But that's OK. So hopefully they'll get that worked out, and we'll get to there. And if they don't get it worked out, I'll kill you. All right. What? I kill you? That's really hard for someone with a deep voice. So I had this piece of crap, right? This piece of crap software, and I called it iSpy. Oh, cute. And so what the heck did I create iSpy for? iSpy was this piece of software which just was written in Java, and it was horrible. All it did was take TCP dump, and it would stream in the contents of TCP dump, and it would just look for HTTP GET requests, and it would reopen them in Firefox. This is like the first thing I ever made in Java, okay? I mean, pretty much the first thing I ever made in Java. It was like 10 lines, and it sucks. This thing is the worst program I've ever made. I've made a couple of programs, and this one I don't show anyone because that's how embarrassed I am about it. But it was effective, and we use this. So, like I said, I'm a grad student. I'm pretty heavily involved, along with a lot of these guys who are trying to figure out why the internet doesn't work, and some of these guys up front. And we're from Iowa State University. We teach people about computer security. We kind of help run the clubs and stuff, do a lot of events. And so iSpy was going to be this awesome utility. Hey, guys, don't use the open Wi-Fi because this can happen to you, and it would open up in Firefox. What was kind of funny about that, obviously, is I wasn't doing anything particularly fancy. I was just reopening the GET requests. And so someone goes to Facebook, and they're logged in. Facebook shows up, and I'm like, see, it saw you went to Facebook. And they're like, yeah, but it's not logged in. And, I was like, well, that's going to be a lot more work, like a lot more work. But, I mean, it was pretty effective, and especially at Iowa State, because, and I hate to admit this about the place I love so dear, so much, and it's pretty bad, so get ready for it. All wireless at Iowa State is just called IA State, and there's no keys. Like, you cannot get encryption, even if you wanted it. If you begged them, like, please, all I want is 802.1x, they'd be like, no. You're like, oh, well, at least give me a WPA2 pre-shared key, right? So I can at least have a four-way handshake and get something, right? And they're like, no, go away. And so if Iowa State's watching this right now, I'm sorry. I just hopefully am motivating you into doing something about this. So yes, that's my school, which has an information assurance program. The IT department refuses to put any sort of security on our Wi-Fi, which is really annoying. But it's awesome, because anytime I do demos anywhere, right, I'm trying to get new students, trying to do any of my events, I mean, I just got traffic coming out the wazoo, right, because everyone's on Wi-Fi. The dorms, actually, some of the older dorms in Iowa State, we have this really big one. It's called Friley Hall. Do I have any Iowa State alum by any chance here? Because that would be awesome. No? Cool. So the dorms have 10 base T, okay? Yes. There's like, okay, 10 megabit per second, really? We're doing that? We're doing that. That's how old it is. So what they went ahead and did, they spent a whole bunch of money dropping 802.11 BGN compatible access points all over these dorms so that students could use wireless, at least to get quickly connected and download files a lot faster. So no one, the net effect is that no one at all in these dorms use the wire. They all use wireless, and they all use this wireless. So us in security can maybe imagine why that's a bad idea. So when I was actually working with trying to dive into the software, which we're going to see a little bit later, I was doing a lot of packet capturing, and I was working with one of my friends who lived in that dorm, actually. I was just sitting at his desk and kind of hacking away on some code. I was doing some TCP dumps, and I actually ended up coming across, completely on accident, I was not looking for this. I saw a name stream by, and I was like, what? Control-C that, scrolled up. Someone was watching the pornographic video Anal Lick Fest. And that's something you probably don't want the world knowing about. Not only that, but it's pretty easy at our university to resolve host names are very usually someone's email address. So that's kind of the default thing. You register on our network, they're like, here, set your host name to, and then it's whatever your email address at iState is. So mine's like always msulliv, that's my thing. And so, you can pretty easily well, looks like Jansen's watching that. Okay, cool. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of privacy issues, but there's also a lot of security ramifications. Now, that brings you up until last year in about February. Now, in February, I had this awesome class project come up. And it was like a dream in academia, okay? Because I'm not sure how many people learned something from doing this project, but it took me down the rabbit hole so far that I kind of wish I hadn't gone down there in the first place. But the parameters were make a cool project, and it has to do something with wireless, and there were pretty much no other requirements, right? I mean, that's like a dream for a class project. It's always something awful, something horrible you don't want to deal with, but I actually had the opportunity to choose whatever I wanted, which was pretty cool. So, yay! I'm excited. And thus, something called Cookie Cadger was born. To do a quick definition, a cadge, because everyone knows that's me. Cookie catcher? No, cadger with a D, G. So, verb, cadging, beg or obtain by begging. So, Cookie Cadger is the idea of something sitting on the network and begging for those cookies to come on by. Come talk to me, cookies. I would like to explore a little bit. All right, so how's the internet looking, gentlemen? Okay, what channel? Wonderful and awesome. So, like I said, I really hope the demo gods shine upon me today, otherwise this talk is going to go downhill real quick. All right, so Cookie Cadger, imagine it like Firesheep, only way more awesome and actually maintained, right? So that'll be two nice things. Cookie Cadger is a pen testing tool, and it's not just a toy. You can certainly use it as a toy. I have. It's a lot of fun. But it's actually more for audits. I want people to actually take a look at their network and figure out what's really going over in HTTP or clear text. So what you get with Cookie Cadger is detailed HTTP request capturing, and it can actually replay pretty much the entire header of the HTTP GET request that it sees go across the line. You can get the requested item. I actually spoof your user agent, your refer, and if it's available, basic auth. So one thing that this does right now is all of those things, and we'll actually talk about future directions, but in case I forget to mention it, I want to do something a la Burp Suite. If anyone's ever used Burp Suite, you know that you can actually rewrite a lot of that stuff before you forward it on the line. I'd like to do something similar with Cookie Cadger. You can actually say, okay, I want to replay this, but I want to maybe modify something small in the header. And I'm going to give the users the option to do that, hopefully, here pretty soon. We just have a lot in the pipeline right now. So in short, find request, replay request, and win. Profit. It's pretty much that easy. Oh, now my slides are going to get all weird. Okay. I guess I'll show all the things. So what's really fun about Cookie Cadger is it can do Wi-Fi and wired. I don't put your card in monitor mode. I let you guys take care of that, primarily to kind of detract script kiddies from just loading up. Obviously, if they're going to, they're going to. But I expect that you know how to expose an interface in your preferred operating system to do this type of work. So you can put it on 802.11. You can put it on wired Ethernet. That's going to work too. The other fun thing you can do is Pcap file analysis. And there's a lot of ways to really get PCAPs, right? We don't think about that all the time, but there's tons of things you can do to get some awesome PCAP data. If you're doing an audit and you have one of those amazing Pwn plugs, is anyone here from Pony Express by any chance? If you see any of those guys, tell them I really want a Pwn plug. I know I'm not going to get one for free, but I can pretend. So Pcap file analysis, you can load in, it will parse it, it'll look through it, it'll do the exact same thing as if you were on the wire. I actually have a fun little trick here. I forgot to have it out, sorry about that. I know you probably can't see this at all. This is a Samsung Mesmerize or a Samsung Fascinate. It depends on which network you were purchasing it on. This little guy is really interesting because there's a utility that someone wrote called Pixie, Pixie Network Monitor, and this is Android. So one thing that's a lot of fun is that this thing can actually go into monitor mode if Pixie tells it to, which actually it does wireless promiscuous mode to be more specific. This is a blast. So I've walked around before at Iowa State University with this just sitting in my pocket collecting Pcap data, and then you can actually load that in and have Cookie Cadger analyze it after the fact. And that's a lot of fun. And so likewise, in a kind of 007-esh pen test, you could definitely actually ship one of these devices in, get some Pcap info. You could have it pushing that up to to a file share using a 3G connection. You can pretty much do anything. This is a really easy way to do some fun session hijacking with pretty much anything you have available. So keep that in mind too if you're looking at this. It's a lot of fun. Also, I'm hearing that the Galaxy Nexus, there's a little brouhaha going around saying that the Galaxy Nexus phones actually some people have been working on monitor mode drivers for those, and so they've got kind of the same thing going on. So definitely something to keep in mind. Pcap data is a lot of fun. Okay, so Cookie Cadger has a couple of features, and yes, we are going to demonstrate it, but I'm going to do the boring, and then we're going to go into the awesome, okay? I promise. This is how it has to work. It's just the way it goes. So data sets. As you bring in information, I save data sets. Now, data sets you can save, you can load, things that you would expect to have in a normal platform. Now, what's a lot of fun is that the data set is actually, it's all SQLite. So everything I do, every piece of information I take in, gets stored in SQLite. Now, why do I do that? Well, it's easier for me as a developer, but it's also awesome because I get a good schema. And so you can do really cool things like loading this into any other tools you might have, and you can continue working on the data set from there. You've got these Pcaps, which are huge, and you've got too much information, right? Cookie Cadger can narrow that down, get it into a nice database that you can query, that you can do analytics on. I'm hoping to actually add so the academia side of Iowa State has some interest in pursuing this, and we'll talk about that. So I'll be doing this academically for the next year as well, and they're interested in seeing some analytics. They want to see graphs, charts, what types of traffic are we looking at? Is it just for fun? Is it something else? So there's a lot of analytics you're going to be able to do on a SQLite 3 database, as you can imagine. The other thing I'd like to even do is expand this a little bit further. SQLite 3 is really good at what it does, but I was thinking it would actually be awesome if you could connect to like a MySQL instance, and you could actually have multiple of these reporting back to a single instance. The software's front end is written that there would be no reason you can't do that, so the back end would just need a quick adapter to be able to do something like that. Thankfully, it's really portable, so that shouldn't be a problem. So we'll definitely look into that. The other most fun thing about Cookie Cadger that I absolutely love is, like you might have surmised, you can see all the requests that you're working with. I also have session detection. Session detection is a blast. Session detection is that thing in Firesheep that was like, hey, that person's logged into Facebook, or that person's logged into Twitter. Those were plugins that Firesheep had compatibility for. Now, those are compatible with my implementation. However, we followed the same path. What you do is you actually can make a directory at where the file exists for Cookie Cadger. You can make a directory there, call it plugins. My software is automatically going to find that directory, it's going to scan through it, and any JavaScript files that are in there, .js's, it's actually going to look for implemented methods that it supports. If it finds a file that matches those criteria, it's actually going to go ahead and pass the Java engine that's running this will pass it off to JavaScript, and JavaScript will actually handle some of the work. And so what that means is a very easy to use extendable interface. You can actually test it in real time. You can have this running, you can hit something to it, you might see it accept, it throws out that debugging information for you, and you can say, hey, well, let me try that card again. You can edit right there in real time, rerun it, it's going to reload that JavaScript, it's going to reparse it, and it's going to hopefully work if you've done it right. So that's going to be a lot of fun, because this is going to be, extensibility is key, in my opinion, in open source software, and so that's what I really was aiming for here. I talked without doing the slides. So, some sites that I've already actually worked on this for and that we'll be demonstrating today, I already added compatibility for Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. Why are my slides so weird? Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, Drupal, PHPBB3, and WordPress. Now, another area that this differs a little bit from where Firesheep might have is that Firesheep was really good at doing like domain level stuff. Like, oh, you're at Facebook, I can do Facebook. One thing that Cookie Cadger is really good at doing, especially with the session detection stuff, is actually looking at is someone actually logged into a specific service. Imagine, if you will, that I installed WordPress or maybe Drupal on my web server. Could I tell that someone had actually logged into that? So session detection can actually handle that sort of thing. So this is actually a web server that I kind of help administrate. When I log into it, I always go to the HTTPS URL without really even thinking about it. But unfortunately, you can actually log into the Drupal admin interface just using regular HTTP traffic. And this is bad, right? I mean, this is my department's home page, you know, and I'm not sure how many people actually look at this, but maybe someone gets in there and types, "You suck and I hate everybody," right? That's going to be a bad time. So we want to make sure that we deal with these types of things. And when Firesheep, as it was originally architected, you know, took care of these big boys, but this is something that I hope that you guys will actually be able to go out and be able to use in your own web applications. You can actually write things like this and make sure that people are actually using HTTP versions of stuff if it's available that's actually using HTTPS, excuse me. So I'm hopeful that people will utilize that for that purpose as well. There's a lot of obvious use cases for Cookie Cadger. First of all, pwn someone, prove that open Wi-Fi is a horrible idea, or that not using HTTPS is a horrible idea. There's a lot of people in management, I have experienced this myself, who just don't see the risk in something like this. Yeah, it's fine, no one's going to attack us, no one's going to care. But believe it or not, people do care, and people do look at these types of things. As we all know, as security testers and individuals in the community, you know, if an attacker can find a way, they'll find a way. And let's not leave another door open on the side. Now, this is also really awesome for checking leaky applications. And what I mean by this is I created a website for this project. It's called cookiecadger.com. We'll go over that in a little bit. I actually was throwing errors from that on Chrome just yesterday. Chrome was like, "Hey, that's insecure." And I said, "Why is it insecure? I have a valid cert. What's your problem?" And it says, "Well, you're getting resources that are HTTP only, or they're HTTP referenced. They're not HTTPS referenced." And I said, "Really? That's weird." And so I loaded up Cookie Cadger, and I just started monitoring my ETH0, and then I just requested the website. And of course, anything HTTPS didn't show up. All the HTTP requests did. And I said, "Oh, well, there it is right there." You know, went straight to my source file, flipped the line, and I was done. You know, there are other ways to do that. You can check through your source. You can waste a lot of time. But when you're already in Eclipse and you're already at your dev console, it's a lot simpler to just run your utility you've been working on for a couple months to tell you these types of things. All right. I pray you shine upon me with the grace and light. Okay, let's try this out. Zach, you're still sitting there. That makes me really nervous. Okay, why are you sitting there then? He's too shy to get up now. I've called him out. Okay, so there should have been a Wi-Fi access point called, like, you know, "Do not connect to this" or something. If any of you guys in the audience connected to this, now would be a good time to admit that. So I've got all my friends up here, my little cohorts are actually on that, and they tell me they were going to be browsing HTTP-only sites using that so that my demo would be awesome. And I sure hope they did that correctly. Let's find out the hard way. Let me just switch over to my VM here. I see some traffic. Let's find out what we got. Alrighty. This is Cookie Cadger. So Cookie Cadger is written in Java, fully cross-platform. You can use it in Mac, Windows, Linux. The guys who make the Pwn phone, actually, I had a little chat with yesterday, and they are super excited because they want to have this thrown onto the Pwn phone. So, you know, I'll leave that to them, but if that happens, holy crap, that would be awesome. So Cookie Cadger, as you can see right here, can enumerate all the interfaces it's seeing on the network. It can actually toggle between, it keeps track of clients. So let's take a look here, and I'll explain what I mean. So you can see the MAC address, IPv4 address of this account. My tooltips go away after a couple of seconds. You can also see that they're using OS X, they're on Firefox 15. This person has Skype running, which means that it's Max Peterson right there on the corner. And the other fun thing about this is that, so all these people are showing up because they have GET requests available. This does actually, you know, it keeps track of a lot of stuff that's going on the network. So we see that Matthew Schlu's MacBook Pro, which is also another friend of mine who's sitting over there. Matthew Schlu's MacBook Pro is connected to this network as well, and he hasn't submitted any traffic, so he just kind of hides and hangs out. But if we needed information about him, it is available. Now, let's take a look at the recognized sessions, because that's pretty much the most cool part. Nice. Cool. So I know it's a little rough around the edges. UI was never my strong point. I'm a command line guy, and so writing something that was all GUI-based pretty much killed me. So excuse my, my suckiness here, but as you can see, we have these recognized sessions. Now, these sessions can be replayed into a Firefox instance. The technology, for any of you web-savvy people or program-savvy people, what's going on in the background is that I can actually pass off these requests. I say, load this selected session. I have Browser Mob, which is a web browser proxy kind of used for development and test. Browser Mob will actually start up a Jetty server in the background, and it will go ahead and handle those requests, and it will rewrite them in transit. So it'll pretty much come from Firefox, but as it's heading that direction, I rewrite all the headers to match what's in the database. So that's a lot of fun. And I use Selenium WebDriver to actually make sure that the browser gets there and does what it's supposed to do. Those two frameworks are really powerful, really awesome. If you do anything web-wise, you've never used WebDriver, save yourself a bunch of time, go check it out. You can script anything, any test case you want. So once again, I hope the demo gods shine upon me. We'll see if we can get this to go. Hopefully it will. So what we see here is actually we also are getting profile pictures. Now that's a lot of fun because Facebook and Twitter, the profile pictures are publicly available all the time, right? Your profile picture, anyone can always see. So the way we actually facilitate this is that your Facebook account, let's take a look at that. Your Facebook account has a cookie that has a value called CUserID. Now, CUserID is your actual Facebook user ID. I would assume that they tie you to their database using that ID. It's just a large integer. Now, when you actually have that ID, you can query their API, and their API will come back with this really useful information, like, hi, I'm Ellen Hartstack on Facebook with this dog picture. Now, Twitter actually does the same thing, and this is where we differ a little bit from Firesheep. Firesheep, when it was created, actually was crawling the pages. And when you crawl the pages, a lot of things change, as you know. You know, Facebook changes the way they look every 2 weeks, right? And so it's a little bit hard to keep that code maintained. What we're actually doing, when possible, we're actually taking a look at the cookie data itself and basing what we're doing off of that, because we can be reasonably assured that that cookie data, probably they're not going to re-architect the way that looks. Though in light of something like this, maybe they will, who knows. But that cookie data has the CUserID, and it's only set when someone's logged in. So if we see that in the cookie, we know 100% these people are in. So let's go ahead and check out Ellen Hartstack here. And hopefully it'll work, and hopefully the demo guards will favor strongly upon me. We're still working on a lot of efficiencies and stuff, so you'll notice that it does take a little bit. Sorry about that. We'll get there. Unfortunately, when it's captured a lot of data, it takes a little bit of time. I'm going to make sure that I haven't accepted anywhere yet. Yay. Awesome. So we're working on a lot of efficiency stuff. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but please know that it does take a little bit of time now, but hopefully very soon this will be a lot faster process. But as you can see, I had absolutely no knowledge of Ellen Hartstack's username or password, but sure enough, I am signed into her Facebook, and I could do anything. You know, I can turn on chat, I can chat with people. You know, you're not too impressed about that, and I understand. So instead, we'll go over to the other one I saw, though, the WordPress installation. So P&H, DJ, and Sound went ahead and logged in as admin. Now, WordPress installations are a little bit harder because the way they actually handle cookies is really intelligent. You just have a session ID all the time, and that changes every time you do anything that requires refreshing your session. So if you log in, it gives you a new session ID. You log out, it gives you a new session ID. I can't tell if you're logged in or logged out based on that session ID because that's all handled on the database side of things, on their internal side of things. So I don't know if you're logged in or out. So what actually this does is it actually goes and requests the page content, and then it does a very quick lookup and sees, hey, is there anything useful? Do I see a username? And it does. It noticed the howdy admin up here, and so that's what actually made it go, hey, there's a valid session. I see howdy admin. And so it loads it up, and sure enough, I'm now admin on P&H, DJ, and Sound. And like I said, this would work for any URL that has one of these installations. This is going to work on, which is really cool, right? And you know, so that's sessions. You understand. You see what it does. That's cool, right? Does everyone think that's kind of cool, or is that lame? That's kind of cool? Everyone's like, kind of cool? Okay. You don't have to applaud. It's not that. People have already done this. So this part's not that cool. You know, Firesheep was always able to do this. But like I said, it's all about taking that and really extending the idea. We're trying to put more power into the ability to actually create your own cases where this is going to work, your own plugins for each individual pen test that you have. Like I said, the best part about this is all JavaScript. You just implement like 3 methods and you're good to go. And you can just set a couple of variables on the return journey, and my software will pick those up and take care of the rest, which is a lot of fun. All right, so the more fun thing, in my opinion, is getting some of this data. So let's take a look at that. You see these highlighting in blue. The ones that are highlighting in blue are because there's activity on those in the last 10 seconds. We want a little bit of a visual indicator that something's going on a host, and so this is what facilitates that. So I'm going to come on down, and we'll see. Cool, so someone's on Reddit and some other stuff. We can actually right-click on one of these, and we can take ourselves to the request that made Cookie Cadger think that there was a session logged in. So strangely enough, this was actually the request. You might be asking, why wasn't it one of the first requests on the very top? And that's a good point. So to my knowledge, and I haven't looked at the code very strongly, to my knowledge, I believe Firesheep was single-threaded. And so that's, it did what it needed to do. Cookie Cadger is very intentionally trying to take on a lot stronger payloads. So we're completely going crazy on threading. I mean, like, the moment this thing starts, as things are coming in, it's forking off and doing all this crazy stuff. But the end effect is that you can actually have weird stuff like this happen, where one of the, like the 6th request in line, or 5th request, actually came back with the result first. And so it got in there first and took care of everything. But yeah, as we can see, we have this request come through. We can see the date, URI, user agent, and the cookies that made that request happen. If you needed to export any of this, it's really simple to do. You can always just copy the request information out. If you need the entire list of things as they're going on, let's say you're doing a test and you just want to show all the URLs, you can actually copy all of the requests out to the clipboard. If you guys think you're going to use this, I want to warn you of something in the licensure. This is a modified FreeBSD license. Modifications right here on the 3rd bullet. By using the software, you agree to provide the software creator, myself, with exactly one drink of my choice under $10 in US value. I'm going to go ahead and waive that clause for the next 30 days, and we'll talk about why. For the next 30 days, you don't have to fulfill that. But if you guys use this and I see you at DerbyCon 3, pony up, okay? Be honest with me. So that's all I ask. That's all I ask. All right. Yeah, as we can see, this is going to be something that you can get a quick look at what's going on. You see things like host names. This picks up NetBIOS names for Windows PCs, and it does multicast DNS or Bonjour, stuff like that from that side of things. And so it picks up a lot of these pieces of data which are very useful in identifying which client you're looking for. Very soon, we're also going to be adding some other cool stuff like being able to actually search through these. As you can imagine, some of these lists get kind of long. Very soon we'll have the ability that you can just simply, under a text box here, type in Facebook, and it'll make sure that it only shows you hosts that match Facebook. So that'll make it a lot easier to search through these types of things. For now, I'm just working on getting everything kind of finalized. I submitted the CFP for this talk back in June, and I had a little bit done on this. I kind of talked about it at one little event. And then when I got the, yeah, you're good to go, in the end of August, I think it was it? Yeah, I think it was the end of August. I was like, holy crap, there's so much to do. And so I went crazy and was coding like a madman. My fiance would tell you I completely shoved her aside. Love you, honey. So I feel bad about that. So I'm going to return to a normal life, but there will still be dev going on. All right. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. Cool. The other thing that we can do is we can actually take in multiple interfaces. Right now what I'm using is kind of the pen tester's favorite toy in the world, in my opinion. I've seen a lot of people with these. I've got a TP-Link TLWN722N. This is kind of the standard TP-Link 802.11n adapter. And it's super cheap. You can go on Newegg, get it for like $15. The drivers for that is like 100% compatible with the Linux 3.0 kernel. You can throw it into Mon mode with absolutely no difficulty. So that's a lot of fun. And so that's what I'm using, and I have just big antenna on this. And so I'm capturing from Mon 0, right? Well, I can have maybe 3 more adapters. I could be listening on 1, 6, and 9, or 1, 6, and 11, not 1, 6, 9. You could be listening on 1, 6, and 11. All 3 of those could be coming in, and I could have monitor mode enabled on all 3 of those, and I could capture from all those simultaneously. It's as simple as just saying, oh, I now want to capture on these 2 interfaces. And so there we go. 2 interfaces are capturing and bringing in that traffic. So that's a very useful thing if you want to monitor on a lot of channels all simultaneously. The other thing I've done definitely is that keep in mind when it comes to hijacking session cookies, and people forget this a lot, when you're hijacking session cookies, you need exactly 1 to that domain, and then you've got it, right? You only need 1 cookie. So one of the easiest things to do on this piece of software is to just write up a really simple script which runs you through a couple of different channels. Let me see if I can just throw one up here real quick for fun. This was never really meant for display, so it's kind of like a little quick thing I did. But I use this occasionally when needed. Every 3 seconds, I just cycle 1, 6, 11, 1, 6, 11. You find a lot of really interesting traffic at, say, a hotel using something like this, because you're kind of listening in all the channels. So this is a really easy way to pick up something, because like I said, you only need the 1 request, and everything else falls in line from there. So if you have the 1 request, you're good to go. So really, channel coverage, that's completely fine. That's a good thing. If you want to try that, go for it. That's all you need to do on Linux to do it. IWconfig, WLAN 0 channel, followed by the channel number. All right. I think that's good enough for me. Let me reset this here real quick. Oops, I forgot to stop capturing. And to all those people over there doing stuff, you can, I think you're good. Thanks. Ah. Okay, so clearly we have a bug because it's still capturing when it shouldn't be. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. But anyway, what I would like to demonstrate, if this thing stops freaking out on me, so like I said, it's a little rough around the edges. Consider this kind of beta software. But the other thing we can do, like I was mentioning, is bring in Pcaps. It's very simple. You just load it up, it sends it on its way, and comes back, and then you're good to go. So actually, interestingly enough, which one is it going to be? Oh, that's a lot of fun. Max, can I? Sure? Okay. So take my word for it, Pcaps works. So this is a lot of fun. I know, take my word for it, right? That's famous last words. Okay, we'll just do it. Technically speaking, Google kind of asked me to not talk about this, but they've had long enough. I warned them about a little problem about like in May, saying that App Engine under very specific circumstances. You can actually transmit an HTTP cookie, which gives you the full, like if someone's an admin on the AppSpot instance, then you can actually view the source code, view the data store, edit things on the data store. So anything on App Engine that allows someone has a user account to be able to do that, that's going to be a problem. I've talked with a company that uses App Engine, and they say all the time, like, oh, we use two-factor. It's no big deal. We use two-factor. I'll tell you what, if I steal your HTTP cookie, your two-factor ain't doing crap for you. That's not going to save you. Two-factor is not going to save you. So a simple SSL strip, something like that, would pretty much do the trick. Like I said, I told Google about this. Google's like, yeah, it's a problem, but yeah. They were just kind of like nonchalant about it. Didn't really sound like they had any timeline for fixing it. They were just like, yeah, but if you could, just kind of keep that to yourself. And I did for a really long time, and then they stopped talking to me, so I guess now's a good time as ever. But yeah, so am I a horrible person? I'm so sorry, Google. Anyway. Which one should I take, Max? I don't want to accidentally actually open up, there's some code I know on there that's proprietary. Top 4? Okay, thank you. But yeah, so as you can see, in certain instances, like I said, App Engine will actually let you go to the non-HTTPS version of that site, or you could SSL strip this, and then this is going to work. But yeah, as you can see, we can get in to the data store viewer. I could dump all the code, anything like that. If you're in the data store, you can have a lot of fun. You can edit things, you can update records, and this is all something you can do with Cookie Cadger if you know what you're looking for. So if any of you guys use App Engine, feel free to be a little bit paranoid because this is actually a problem. So yeah, definitely take a look at that as well. But yeah, isn't that cool? Like, has anyone else here ever seen someone SSL, or not SSL strip, but grab a cookie from a Google service? Like, this is the first time I've ever really been able to do that. So that's a lot of fun. Yay for finding little holes. Woo! Anyway, Maxwell, haha, your session is gone. Go ahead and axe that. Nice. That just doesn't work. That's cool. Well, I'm going to keep this one forever now. That's officially awesome. The other fun thing, too, just to bring up, I actually did a capture. We were showing this software off a couple weeks back at a recruiting event for one of the organizations that I'm really heavily involved in. We were capturing a bunch of sessions for people's Facebook and stuff, and just showing like, oh, this is crazy. Well, a lot of people check that box, right? Remember me. If you've checked Remember Me and you're using HTTP, you're going to have a horrible day because those things just don't expire. Like, I don't know what the timeout is on those, but it's got to be more than that's been like 4 weeks. And last night I took one of those and tried to replay just to see if it was still working, and it was. So don't use the Remember Me stuff. That's a bad idea on HTTP sites because that just travels around. And keep in mind too, there's a lot of stuff that requests www.facebook.com that isn't actually you browsing to Facebook. There's a lot of API calls and a lot of crap that your browser's doing that's calling that. So if you call the API, www.facebook.com / I think it's API.php or something like that, and if you call that, even if you're not browsing Facebook, I've still got it, right? All I needed was the one, and you have the Remember Me checkbox, I'm good to go. So something to keep in mind as well. All right, I'm going to flip back to the slides here. So that was a lot of fun. Woo. Thank you, demo gods. You have treated me well on this glorious day. So, Cookie Cadger. Is anyone actually interested in getting this? Anyone at all? A couple people? Cool. Whoa, a lot of people. Okay. So we're going to be awesome, and we're going to be cool to charities. And so I've been talking with Hackers for Charity, and we're going to do this awesome thing. Okay, so first of all, my coding is horrible, and we'll get to that. So it's just not quite ready to be open source. Like the binary is there, you don't want the source yet. So the binary is going to be available, and it's going to be available right just now, like as of before I walked into this talk, cookiecadger.com. Now that binary is going to cost you $10. 100% is going straight to Hackers for Charity. I have their PayPal in the thing, like it just forwards you straight to them. I don't touch your money, I don't have anything to do with it. So if you think Hackers for Charity is an awesome cause, go get it. And you can actually add some donations on top of that. So the 10 is the minimum. We auto-fill in another 10 that you'd like to give for 20. We'll let you buy it at 10, but if you want to fill in an extra 10 there, it kind of auto-does it for you. But, you know, Hackers for Charity is a really awesome organization. I'm sure all of you are by now aware of what they do. You know, I really believe they're saving lives. You know, like if you don't believe that, go check out what they're doing, because they're saving lives. So if you want to help these guys out, I think that would be awesome. I actually bought my own software last night. So if you want to, you know, I'm leading by example here. So I went and bought my own software last night. So you guys should do the same. Thanks. So the source will be available. Where's Kaufman? Kaufman, are you in here? Just Kaufman? He's hungover? Darn. Okay. I was going to like totally give him credit. So there's this awesome guy who rolls with us. His name's Justin Kaufman. He's a good friend of mine. Justin is a coder. Justin is a comp-sci guy. He likes algorithms and math. Like that's his thing. Like, oh, I can do math all day? Win! Right? He would rather do that than go to Disney World. So what's awesome is that so my source is horrible. This was like the first Java thing I've made. Like I said, I made iSpy and it was crap. Well, then I was like, oh, I'm going to make this class project. And then it actually became something that I'm now presenting to you about. So you can imagine that the source is horrible, because I thought I was the only person who was ever going to be using this thing. And so like, there was no comments. Like the interfaces and methods are horrible. One of my methods is like 500 lines long. That's not cool. Don't code like that. So this guy is completely awesome. Justin is refactoring my code. He's been going through and just slashing stuff left and right and working on efficiencies. So we're going to be able to have this thing loading a lot faster, taking in way more packets. He's doing stuff that is way out of my league because, this, like I said, this is like second time in Java, first, second time. I don't know what I'm doing. He's the man. He's taking all of that source and working on it for me. We're going to publish that out once he's done with it. It'll be about the middle of October, it looks like. So for now, we're just going to be selling Cookie Cadger as the binary, helping out a good cause, while we kind of chill out and wait for this to happen. So that'll be awesome. So if you want the source, it's going to be on GitHub. You can link to it from cookiecadger.com. Like I said, right now it's closed. We'll open that up. FreeBSD licensure. You can do whatever you would like. Whoa. You can do whatever you would like to this. I'm a really big proponent of just like, you make something cool, give it out, right? So I made something cool, go play with it. FreeBSD licensure, in case you're unfamiliar with it, pretty much says, keep my name in the credits. That's all I ask. Everything else is yours. You can sell it. You could literally take the binary and sell it. I will like boo you, and the sec community will want to kill you, but you could do it. So the other thing is this is not going to be abandonedware. Yay! So Firesheep, of course, got made. He proved a point, and off it went. I'm not just proving a point. I really want to make a tool set. So this is actually a requirement now. I've made this project my requirement for graduating from Iowa State. You can either write a thesis, or you can do a kind of in-depth security project. And I was talking to people, and they're like, this is an awesome security project. You should do this. And so this is actually something I have to work on. I am absolutely unable to graduate unless I make this awesome by the end of May. So yay, free updates no matter what until May. After May, I don't know. But that's why you open source stuff, so that the community can have their way. So that'll be awesome. I've got a lot of people who are going to be maintaining this on GitHub with me. If you want in on that, if Java is your thing, absolutely shoot me an email. It'll be at the last slide of this presentation. I would love to hear from you. I think community involvement is really cool, and we should definitely do it. All right, a couple of credits. Travel and support for the project was provided by the Iowa State University Information Assurance Center. If you think that master's degree in information assurance would be awesome, definitely go check out Iowa State. That's just my little pitch because my boss and my major professor got us here, helped us with the financing, and we couldn't have done it without him. Help with everything else. These people right in the front row here are all my pretty much closest friends in the world, and they have dealt with so much crap from me. I'm like, it's like 4 in the morning. Someone's like, I need to go to bed. No, test the jar file. Oh yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad. So last night was actually a lot of fun because they all went and got drunk. Now, they came back, and I really needed them to test the copy that I'm giving out to you guys, and they're being belligerent. So, belligerent drug people testing your app sucks. Like, never do it. I'm like, guys, just make it, test it. No, you should be drinking during your talk. You should take a shot every time you say cookie. No, just test it. No, take a shot. No. So, you know, I appreciate you guys. I love you to death. Last night, I almost killed you all. But thank you so much for everyone, for all your testing. I appreciate it so much. Oh, and my final pitch, Mike Davis, stand up. Mike Davis, do it, stand up. You have to stand up. Okay, this is Mike Davis. He is cool, and he made the Roku app for DerbyCon. And so you can go, people have used that apparently, yay! So this guy makes the Roku app for DerbyCon, and he does it just as a favor to us. So if you have a Roku, say what? BrightScript is horrible. But anyway, he is the man for doing that. He doesn't make any money off of it. He's just kind of hosting it for the community. So that's really cool. If you have a Roku, check out the DerbyCon channel. Okay, there we go. So, Cookie Cadger, go down there right now. If you want to tweet about anything you've seen today, that'd be fantastic. Add a hashtag, that way I can find you and talk to you. Or you can just hit me up directly. But my email address is available on my website if you head to that as well. So yeah, hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions or anything like that. But otherwise, go buy that, and let's benefit an awesome cause. Thanks, everybody.